Welcome back, Duelist. Casual Duelist here, and for some time now I've actually been asked to create a how-to Yu-Gi-Oh! Tutorial series. More or less just people who want to get into the game, not really for the main players. However, I will have some videos that will help you guys understand some of the more complex gaming elements to it. But today I just want to get part one done, and for part one, all we're going to talk about is what do you need to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, obviously, a playmat helps, especially since it has a different layout than it used to. It's changed a few times over the course of the 20-some years we've been playing. And real quick, the first thing that you need to play, and just to be able to play anywhere, you're going to need a deck. You're going to need at least 40 cards in the main deck with up to 15 cards in the extra deck, and another up to 15 cards in your side deck. So I grabbed out some of my speed duel cards, because again, I just automatically always have those sleeved up and ready to go. And I just sort of tossed together something that has a little bit of everything from the main game, and then we will expand out later. So there's that. Now, we need these because we will play with a mixture of monster cards, which are obviously the character-looking guys, the green cards, which are our spell cards, and allow us to actually have effects on our turn most of the time, traps, which we're going to set for our opponents, and then, of course, those fusion monsters, or, in the case of today's game, we also have Synchro, Xyz, Lynx, and I don't have any pendulum cards on the table right now. Otherwise, I would throw one of those up there too. So what you really need is you just need the cards. Once you have the cards, you play from 8,000 points, going at your opponent until you can deduct theirs down to 0. Something that's always been helpful, just good old pad and pen. Of course, these days you guys can use like your tablets and stuff. Let me unlock this one here real quick. And then Konami actually has an app called Neuron. And what's great about Neuron is it actually takes away what we need. Because the next thing I was going to say was we're going to either need some coins or use some dice. And Konami's been making some pretty cool ones. Let's see if we can get the character up. There we go. So a lot of character dice. Of course, if you're in the app, it will be under tools. And of course, you can do die rolls, you can do coin flips, and if there's any effect where you need to add counters on cards, you can keep track of that there. The other big thing I like about this app, which I also like about pen and paper, and again, you could use a calculator, but if you're just playing casually, like this would be the thing I would do. Again, let's say we lose, 4,200, whatever. They gain 1,000. We lose another 2. Then we gain 5. If you needed to play that back, you would hit the log button. And just like pad and paper, this will allow you to take a look at the entire log match. Now, if you're using your phone as opposed to a tablet, because I'm using a case, they do have a camera search. And again, in the TCG, especially in America, we are allowed to use some other language cards. So I believe it is like French, Spanish, Italian, and German for sure. I'm not sure if there's a couple other languages that we allow. What that'll do is you'll center the card in the camera frame, and it will visually try to match it and translate it to your native tongue. So again, you can actually use a die as a coin. Just call evens or odds. It's still a 50% chance, at least on any even-sided die. Counters, again, we used to use dice for counters. I do know that Konami has created a new rule where you could use dice as counters, but each die is one counter, not whatever the face value is. And again, it's just so easy to accidentally tap this from like okay, well, maybe not so easy on that one. To tap it from a 1 to a 5. And then if you've lost track then obviously that's going to skew the game. I would, for the value, just get yourself like, go to the bank and get like a roll of pennies or something. I don't know that you'll ever need that many. But there are some decks, 6 Samurai and like 1 or 2 others, especially once you're starting to do like Pendulum Spellcaster. You will need a gratuitous amount, and since you have to use single objects to count as single tokens or counters, do that. And then again, they have monster token cards. I don't have any of those near me. Another thing you could do, just take other cards in sleeves and, you know, just kind of flip the card around in the sleeve. Most of the time, any token generating effect will tell you what stats you need to make that. So you don't really need to worry about whether or not it's the appropriate token made by Konami, so much as a token can really be just anything that you want to designate as that. And again, you could use a calculator, but I would use Neuron just because it's way better. And card sleeves. Obviously, I sleeve up my cards. There are a lot of people out there who do just what they walk around with just a stack of cards, and they're not sleeved or anything, and they get beat up rather quickly. And if you're planning on playing this game for any length of time, it just helps to keep all your stuff better. So, last thing I'm going to cover this time, I'm going to cover up the field zones themselves, because this is semi-important. So let's take our deck. We don't need to shuffle it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go right to left. And I know that you can't see it right now, so what I'll do is I'll flip this guy back up. If we move over here, the first zone here is obviously where our deck is going to go face down. Anything that goes to the discard pile is this field, this zone right in front of it. Then the next 5 in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just slightly out over here. These are going to be the main zones. Now, the spells and the trap cards are either played or set face down into this back row for you to use, and your monsters will take up these front 5. There are rules where any monster being special summoned from the extra deck gets to pick one of these top forward 2 zones. And again, Konami does have these things called dual centers, and you could use another card from another game, or an empty sleeve, or a bottle of pop, a pen. You could put your cell phone there if you really wanted. Just this way, with Link monsters, they have these arrows that point around, and it really does affect their effects, and that helps keep everything nice and lined up during gameplay. But you only get one of these zones, and it is first player out there gets to pick which one they want. Again, if you do destroy your opponent's monster that's out there, you can go ahead and use that zone if you wanted to. And a really complicated tech would be using the link arrows to be able to link all the way around to be able to play into the other zone, stopping them from using their links at least. Moving over to the left now, we do have the Fusion Extra Deck Zone. This is where Fusions, Synchros, Xyz monsters, and Links, and of course Pendulums, once they're defeated, they go face up on the top of the Extra Deck. The Extra Deck is always face down. This is just to keep track of where everything's at for you. And there's one type of spell that we play called a field spell. Now that's a spell that's going to activate and affect everything on the entire field, both players' sides, and that card will go up here. We do have one in this deck for that purpose, and both players may actually have one at the same time. Now this used to not be a rule. It was one player gets one, and if player 2 wanted to play their field spell, then when they activate it, player 1's field spell was retired to the discard pile. So that is the what you'll need to play, and a basic familiarization of the playing field. We'll move that back over here. I'm going to get part 2 here shortly, and with part 2, what we're going to do is we're actually going to dissect what the cards are and what they look like, and we're going to go over where all the information is on these that you guys need to know in order to start playing. So that'll be part 2, and I'll see you guys then, or see you on the next video, depending on which ones you decide to watch in order. You guys have a great day.